Good morning, everybody. Waking up, California with Diego Martinez every Thursday morning, 9 a.m. We're a little bit behind schedule, so we're going to allow a little bit of people to hop on board here. And this is going to happen every Thursday morning. And what I like to do is just open up this group for people to be able to have their comments, their opinions, and just lay them out. And we can talk about anything that's going on politically. It doesn't matter which party you guys want to talk about. There is so much that is going on in this last week with the trial going on, with what's going on with the recall, where we headed, where SB 663 got held back, got stopped from going to where it's supposed to be. Things like that have happened this week, so we'll just kind of hang out here just a little bit, see if we get somebody to come on board with us, and we'll start the program out, right? So this program is basically just a little bit about who I am, a little bit about where I stand, but also a lot to do with what's going on in the community, what's going on in California, and how we can make California better. We have gotten a lot of questions that we've gotten so far this last week. I'm going to try to get to the bulk of those, kind of like in the conversations that we're having today. We've talked a lot about water, what's going on in the Central Valley with the water situation, and what we need to do to make it better. Before I get going, I'd like to thank everybody who helped me out this last week. I mean, I was all the way from Huntington Beach. We were over in Huntington Beach last, I'd like to say Saturday. Friday night, we were over in Hangtown. I'd like to thank everybody out there in Hangtown. The event for tomorrow night isn't going to be happening in Hangtown. It got canceled. So want to let everybody know, don't go to Hangtown tomorrow night for the protest about them changing their names, because it actually got canceled. So let's see, what else? Lake County GOP and all the people out there, thank you very much for your support, for going out there. Lonnie, Teresa, everybody else that has something to do with the Central Committee out there in Lake County. Thank you guys. It was a great event last Sunday. Trying to remember everywhere I've been this last week, because it's kind of hard when you go from Southern California to Northern California overnight. Anybody have any questions, feel free to jump in. Let's start with Proposition SB 663. Which, if a lot of you guys don't know, that was the Democratic Party trying to give out your information if you signed a recall for Gavin Newsom. They were trying to say that that was public information and that they should be able to have your address, your phone numbers, and your email addresses so they could harass you and ask you to recant and not vote for the recall. So that didn't pass. It got shut down, which is a good thing for right now, but it's stuff that we have to be aware of that's coming up. And this is where I wish our assemblymen and women would be more transparent with us and come out. I mean, they tweet all the time, right? They're out on Twitter, they're out on Facebook, they're out on Instagram. Why is it that when a new law comes up, they can't have the courtesy for the people who voted them into office and actually go out there and lay it out and say, hey, this bill's passing, or this is what they're trying to pass? This isn't about parties. This isn't about whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. This is about just the right thing to do, because you're our assemblyman or assemblywoman, you're our representative. Your constituents, people in California, should know the laws that are trying to get passed. Because I know it doesn't affect them as much as it affects all of us. And I say that all the time about SB 145. It's one of my pet peeves, because I don't believe that bill should have passed. It had no sense would it have passed had the California people had actually been informed. And that's the problem with our government, especially here in California. We're not informed about anything. People may have talked about Donald Trump and his tweets, but we were informed. We knew what was going on. We knew where we stood. We knew what was going on. Hi, Margaret. Good to see you on Morning Frauka. Mestizos are on, and a couple other people are on over here in Instagram. Thank you guys all for joining. Judy, anything that you guys want to talk about, bring it out. What I was saying is, people were saying Donald Trump tweeted a lot. They didn't like his tweets, right? but at least we were informed to what was going on. In California, unless you start digging, or unless you have people like myself, California Underground, or a couple of the rest of these podcasts, or you're involved in politics, you don't know what's coming down the pipeline. And a lot of people who are involved in politics, we don't really know what's coming down the pipeline till somebody brings it up, and then there's a protest against it, and then we're scrambling to get what the bill means and why we should protest it or why we should be for it. Those are things that have to change in California right now. We have a lot of work to do. We talk about immigration. We talk about what's going on with the water here in California and where the water needs to go and why we're having such a drought when we shouldn't be. It's tough to say that a fish, Delta salmon, has more rights than human life, that are farmers, that are growers. We have to reroute. We also need to build and reinforce our dams and our reservoirs. We should have a reservoir that could hold 3 years worth of water for the state of California. Without having that, we keep putting ourselves in a drought when we shouldn't. Instead of dumping the water into the ocean, it should go into reservoirs where, again, we should be expecting to have 3 years worth of water. So even in the worst year, you still have water. Water is very important to the Central Valley. It's very important to the guys and women up there in Mendocino County and Lake County and that area, Shasta County. It's affecting everybody. We need to take care of our water. We need to take care of our farmers. We need to take care of our people. We have enough water that we don't need to keep dumping it. We have other ideas on how to build water and get water back in here to make sure that we never shy on water, because I laugh. I look back a couple of the commercials from a couple years ago where you have politicians running for office, and I was looking at them, and it's funny how you always see the guy from LA, San Diego, even San Francisco come out to the Central Valley, and they don't understand the Central Valley. But they do understand that the farmers are very important people. And they're walking through these soldiers, don't even really know what they're talking about. And then they talk about, oh, we have to bring you water. Well, that's great. You're in office now. Where's our water? I'll wait for that answer too. Some of the guys who are in Congress right now got picked up because of their water values, but we still don't have the water problem fixed. When people ask me why am I against career politicians, and it's not that I don't like them, I'm sure they're great people, they just haven't done their job right. They failed us. And I say that more than once. Both sides have failed us. Whether you're a Democrat, an independent, a Republican, it doesn't matter. Both sides have failed us. And if we keep voting in the same people who have failed us, what are they going to keep doing? They're going to keep failing us. So that's why I'm kind of term limits for sure. We got to have term limits on everybody. Nobody should be able to be a career politician for 30, 40 years like we have in Washington right now. Because what we have in Washington right now, we have a group of people who call themselves our representation that don't even understand what our problems are anymore. Unfortunately, they're out of touch. They're out of touch with today's generation. They're out of touch with what's really going on in society. And if you're in Washington, you're really out of touch with what's going on in California if you spend any time here. We actually have a congresswoman in office that hasn't been a legal resident, I'll call that a legal resident, because of California since 1976, since her husband sat in the seat that she has now. Now, how does that person keep getting voted into office? The last election, they had to come to California and buy a house before the elections were done so that they could claim the residency in California. So when we talk about, I'm going somewhere with this guy, sorry. We talk about voter integrity, right? Everybody says, need to check your voters, need to check who's voting, why they voting, are they legal, are they not? We have a different problem here that our Secretary of State hasn't done. How about verifying that the people who are running for office really have the right to run for office here in California? How about checking that their names are right? How about checking that they're really the right person? So to me, it's a twofold. One, we will fix voter registry when I become governor of California. That will be my number one aspect that we're going to fix by 2022 because we're going to run on the recall. If we win the recall, when we win the recall, we will, first thing of business is fixing the voter registry here in California, requiring voter ID, making sure that you're a U.S. citizen and that you have the right to vote. Not only that, we also want to make sure that you're voting in the right jurisdiction where you're supposed to, for the right district that you're supposed to be voting for. The second part of that is we're going to have the state secretary identify that if you're running for office, you're a legitimate person. And what we mean legitimate is whether you're running for Congress for California, whether you're running for assembly, whether you're running for whatever you're running for, even if you're running for governor or even your local precincts, we should double check on the people who are running for office and make sure that they're legitimate to run. This has happened a lot in California because once you become Congress, you get a place out in Washington and you don't really come back to California a lot. Well, a lot of these folks that are elected and they've been elected for years have a different residence. Well, where's your driver's license from? We might want to mandate them X amount of time here in California to make sure they're actually Californians and that they actually belong here and they actually understand what's going on. And guard people's personal information from those that want to take advantage and pressure the recall signatures. We kind of talked about that in the beginning here a little bit, Margaret. There's some stuff that I believe is personal. Nobody should get intimidated or bullied, and we're going to fix that problem. Nobody should get intimidated or bullied because of their party preference, how they voted, or who they voted for. The United States of America was built on freedom. And every day we give up more and more of our freedoms. When you're allowing somebody to bully somebody because of their party preference, of who they voted for, that's not right and that's unjust, and we're going to stop that. It's our freedom. It's almost like being persecuted for freedom of religion, right? If you go to a church, oh, we're going to persecute you. We can't do that here anymore. We can't feel like we're bullied, we can't feel unsafe, and we can't feel like there's no consequences for people who are breaking the law. And you get that a lot these days. A lot of people talk about defunding the police. A lot of people talk about justice reform programs, right? Well, where does all that start? Because we need a beginning and we need an end. We need to figure out how to make it balanced for everybody. The reality is this to me. This is where I stand. This is where I stand, right? When we talk about law enforcement, when we talk about police reform, when we talk about defunding the police, these are just my personal views. And as governor, I will do everything possible to keep them all in line. Because personal views and the right views sometimes are different. So we have to make sure that we make the right decisions for California. I don't believe in defunding the police. I also don't believe that, I don't care what group you're with, okay? So let's get that off the table. I'm not for or against any group. What I will say is this: if you're out there and you're looting, you're breaking, you're destroying personal property, government property, you're gonna go to jail. Bottom line. I don't care who you are, what your title is, or what you do for a living, or what group you're informed with. Breaking the law is breaking the law. If you guys have ever been in a courtroom, we see the scales, the justice scales, what they call them, the lady with the blindfold. Well, that's the way our justice system should be. You break the law, you go to jail. It doesn't matter whether you have money, whether you don't have money, you go to jail. It doesn't matter whether you're a BLM or a Patriot group. You break the law, you go to jail. Every action has the equal reaction. We've heard that before. And we have lost that in California. We have lost that with our law enforcement. And it's not quite the people, the boots on the ground. It's our upper people that have lost that sense of respect for the California taxpayers. I have seen way too much BLM go to Sacramento, destroy Sacramento, and a police escort escorting them through this. No, the only place the police should be escorting you is to jail. You're breaking personal property. Tragic what has gone on in this country, but it should not be an excuse to loot, break into businesses, steal from people, and think that it's okay because you're marching under a flag of BLM of justice. No, you know what? You want to protest peacefully. Do not get out of hand. Do not steal. Do not break into business owner stuff. Do not destroy personal property. Put your protest together. Do your march. Everybody's listening. You take away your costs the minute that you break a window, the minute that you go into a Target and you start stealing from Target. Target didn't do this. The worst part is that our district attorneys aren't prosecuting these people. Yet you have a patriot group who stands to try to stop this because the police isn't doing it right, which isn't right also either. So I don't ever want anybody to take the law in their own hands. That's why we have police. But a patriot group stands up against what's going on. In the patriot group, people go to jail. How? Do that again, Michael, and I'll get you in here. Here you go. You can come in. You should be adding in a little bit. Michael J. Bell wants to join in, and I'm going to let him come on in here. So what I'm saying is this. Doesn't matter who you are. If you break the law, you're going to go to jail. I don't care what group you're at. It's trying to add you in here, Michael, so I'm just waiting for it to add you in, and you're more than welcome to hop in here and make all your comments and talk to everybody. This is a free, I want everybody to know this. I am a Republican. I am running for governor. I believe that both parties have failed us, so this is opened up for everybody, both parties, both sides. This is opened up for California, okay? This program here is opened up for every Californian here because I like to hear the other side. I always do. I like to hear everybody's opinion. DAs who drop charges against Antifa should be removed. Timmy, I agree with that because I think they're just adding to the problem. Michael, try that again. It said that your connection failed. So we can't allow that to happen. We have got to be able to let everybody live peacefully and follow the law of the rules, right? The rules, the justice, the law of the land. And DAs who do not prosecute, the state will take in charge of that district, and we will prosecute anybody who destroys personal property because that cannot happen. Somebody has to stand up for law and order. And if your district attorney, the people that you guys hired, because let me tell you guys this, each and every single one of you guys hired your district attorney because they are actually up for voting. Did anybody know that actually your district attorneys actually get voted in? And that's the stuff that you guys got to watch. Your sheriff, another voted official. Hello, I saw you from that one college class presentations you did. Welcome on board, first time here. Glad you were in that class, and I hope that you learned something. And if you have any questions, like I said, you're more than welcome to ask, and I'll help you with whatever I can. So we're talking about law and order. We're talking about the DAs. We're talking about who's been voted in. Where does it all start? Somebody put everything starts at schools, right? Well, that's an honest statement, how our kids are taught in school, what's going on in our education system, what's allowed and what isn't allowed. I'm going to go a step back than that. Everything starts at home. Some people are upset that church got taken out of, prayer got taken out of schools. My biggest question for you is, did you pray with your child before they left your house today? Because it actually all starts at home. Our values, our morals, our standards, what we tolerate from our kids is the way our kids are actually going to react with other people. People ask me, how important is church? Church is really important. Church is important for the family to go to, learn family values, learn about God, learn the right and wrong ways. Churches have a big, strong role on how to shape our country and our state. But it all has to start with the parents. So we have got to give parents back the rights to be parents. Parents should have the right to decide whether your kid needs a vaccination or not. Parents should have the right to be able to reprimand their child to a certain limit. And what I mean by that, we don't need child abuse back in this state, but parents should have that right. Parents should have the right to demand respect from their kids that they raised, that they gave birth to, that they feed, that they clothe every day. It was sad to me when our children, who at 14 think they know the whole world, yeah, they won't go live on their own at 14, but they think they know everything. Sometimes you wish they went out to live when they were 14, right, out of your house, but that they have more rights than the parent who's feeding them, taking care of them, who gave them birth, who's giving them everything. You have no rights, but your child has all the rights, and if you lay a hand on them, you go to jail. Yet, when they become young adults, when they become early adults, and I'll call them early adults, so that's you're from 18 to, like, say, 25, 26 years old, right? You're an early adult to me, you're a young adult. They get in trouble with the law, and all of a sudden they say, it's the way you raised them. It's you at home. The parents didn't do a good job raising them. Well, if the damn government would stay the hell out of our houses and the way we raise our kids, I bet you our generation would have raised a lot better kids and a lot better motivated kids than what they are right now. And that's the problem. Government needs to stay the heck out of our lives, out of our everyday lives, and do what they're supposed to do, right? If you agree, say yes. If you don't, it's okay. It's just the way I feel. That's why I do this podcast. Guide who protects Antifa where they committed crimes also should be disbarred. Timothy, we're going to actually go a little stronger on any DA that will not prosecute. We will go stronger on them because we agree that they are part of the problem, not part of the solution, and California needs to get off the problem, giving people problems, and we need to go into solutions for California, and real California problems need real California solutions. That's what my administration will be about, solutions. It's not about having to use the same punchlines tomorrow or the next day. We have a couple, the schools are teaching that 1619 projects, all negative history, no positive history. Well, I'm going to say something else. They're not teaching history. Okay, Hangtown. I was over there. The reason I was over there, Hangtown's a western town. If you guys know where it's at, it's up in Placerville. It's a small little town, kind of like our little town here of Columbia. It's a beautiful little place. Historic, kind of in a sense, just a nice home-like feeling, right? The problem with that is that if you remember our history, and this wasn't even racist. I don't think it's racist, but somebody thinks it's racist, please chime in. Hangtown goosenecks, hanging on the trees, hanging on their property. I know what people are thinking it reflects, okay? Because everybody all of a sudden's all, well, slaves this, slaves that, black people this. No, sorry, folks. Hangtown actually had the goose over there because of cattle rustlers and people stealing horses and cattle back in the Western days. I have a friend, her name is Chris Bish. Yes, Senator Bish to Congress. She's a good friend of mine. Hi, Chris. I know you're not joining us, but I know you'll watch this later. She has a property coming right off of Placerville, and there is a memorial on her property, at the edge of her property. It was the first sheriff shut down in that area. So they did a memorial for him there. Then the guys who actually shot him, there were 4 of them, were actually all caught and convicted. So could they have been goosed up there? Probably. And that was the way the law was back in the day. You got hung or you got shot. Well, it's okay for homeless to have more rights than homeowners. I will get that to you here, Jackie, in just a little bit. Let me finish this thought about what I got. You get in trouble with the law if you reap the consequences. So we'll talk about all this here in a minute. Let me finish this. So when you're taking off our history, you're asking for it to repeat itself. History repeats itself when we don't know about it. There's a reason why we learn about history. There's a reason why it's in our schools, or was in our schools, and we need to go back to it. The monuments, there's a reason why those monuments are there. They're to remind us never to make the same mistakes again. Why would you want to erase the history of the freedom of this country
that has led us to where we are today and hopefully inspire us for a better future. Those are the stuff that I don't understand, because history is part of each and every single one of our cultures. We celebrate it. We celebrate the 4th of July. We celebrate Cinco de Mayo, Chinese New Year's, and St. Patrick's Day. And we could go on and on and on, right? That is our history. Yeah, we want to erase it, but that's our culture. But we want to celebrate it when it's a holiday and we don't have to go to work that day, right? We celebrate Memorial Day, which is coming up. Yeah, we don't take care of our veterans. We celebrate them once a year, and then we forget about them. That's going to change. They're going to be our number one priority for housing, medical, and feeling like they belong somewhere. Hey, Gino, how's it going? I'm actually going to talk about something that you got going on, Gino, here in a minute. It's called biofuel. Gino's really strong on biofuel, and he's actually creating a system where everybody here in California, and go across the United States and the world, if this really takes off. We're worried about our environment. We're worried about fumes going up in the air. We're worried about the oil that you cook with every day, that you dump it, whether you put it in a container, you put it in your garbage can, or because nobody really takes it where it's supposed to be, or you dump it down your drain and it goes down to the septic if you have a septic. If not, it goes into the waste management system. Gino's developing a system where you can actually take your cooking oil and put it, I believe it's down the sink, and then it goes into a container. And when the container gets full, you'll be able to go outside and put it in a recycling bin. And then the biofuel company will come and pick it up from you. The recycling fuel will come and pick it up. And biofuel is something that we need to look at for the future of California and the future of the United States. So we don't just depend on the Green New Deal. I'm not against the Green New Deal. I'm against 100% being on it. That's what I'm against. I'm against having just one source of power or electricity. I think we need the fossil fuels. I believe that we need something like biofuel, the Green New Deal. I think they all go hand in hand. I don't believe that by 2035 we should do away with our gas vehicles because, again, just simple question here. What happens when the electricity goes out? If you're where I live, where it snows, the electricity goes out. You can't charge your cars. Where can you go? What happens if you have an emergency? They're also trying to do away with your home generators, which kind of got me because I was looking at a weed eater the other day, and they said, well, you might want to buy one with a battery because in a few years, they just passed a law that you're not going to be able to have a gas operated, or they're not going to be able to sell any new gas operated weed eaters, chainsaws. Are we going too far? Is the United States gone too far with our emissions when you look at other countries and they're polluting everywhere? Just a question here. Because if we're in a room and I'm sitting in the corner of the room and you're in that side of the room and you're smoking, is that going to come on my side? It will. So we got to look at all this stuff when our legislation makes all these decisions for us, because some of them don't make sense. I understand in trying to fix California. I understand in trying to make a better planet. And that's why I said we need different types of energy sources. Biofuel, I'm actually a fan of. Gino's actually, I can't wait till its product comes out so we can test it out and get it on the market, because I think it's a great idea that we recycle our oil into biofuel. I think that every restaurant has been doing it for a while. There's guys, farmers that actually go out there and get it. And the farmers out there right now, a lot of you guys don't know this. They're taking farmers out of being farmers, not only by the water. Truck drivers, tow truck companies are going under because their equipment isn't up to par in today's world. But government vehicles with the same motor, same everything, can still be on the road. So you're taking a small business like a tow truck company, and I'll use them because I know a lot of owners that own tow truck companies, and you keep hearing them and they say the same thing. I got to go buy a new rig today. Why? What's wrong with the one you had? Well, there's nothing wrong with it, but California has put restrictions on me having it. So I did a little research, and it got me. emergency vehicles with the same motor, same problems that they have, do not need to get replaced. Yet personal, independent businesses, small businesses, their vehicles with the same motor, same stuff on it, has to get replaced. We have got to get out of this one-way system. California Underground's on. One of these days, brother, Phil, I know your name's Phil now. If you want to join in, just hit the join in button. You're more than welcome to put your opinion. California Undergrounds, if you guys don't know the program, it's on Instagram. It's on every Wednesday morning. It's a political view, kind of like what we're doing here, but from an attorney who's actually very involved in the San Diego area. And he likes to help young candidates who are coming on in the local area. So if you're a candidate out there in the San Diego area, check out California Underground. Ask Phil for help. They have a program going together to help new people coming into or trying to run in for office. I'm going to look back here at some of these. California has gone insane over fuel issues, price-wise, and doing away with gasoline. I agree with you 100% about that. So we actually have to turn that around. If it's good for government vehicles, it should be good for your everyday vehicles too. So just listening today, will I do some work? Cool. I appreciate you listening in. I watch your show every Wednesday. I think it's entertaining. I like people's comments on them. I'm going to go back up here just a little bit, guys, because I got some comments here that I wanted to get back to. We talked about why they stopping, okay, when the kids are in school. You know, Gino, kids' immune systems are a lot better than adults. We all know that. They're making kids wear masks. They're making parents drive up to the school in their cars and mask. We have got to get out of that. We have got to get out of these stupid mask mandates. If you want to wear a mask, please do so. If you feel that it makes you safe, please wear a mask. But please, if you're wearing a mask, don't make a big issue about somebody who isn't, because if you went and got your vaccination and you have your mask on, you're protected. Take care of you. Take care of your family. Leave the other people that, like me, that kind of want to get sick, leave us alone. I'm trying to get my immune system built up because I'm around a lot of people all the time. So I want to make sure I'm healthy and my immune system can fight this off. So don't make a big deal about it, guys. This is California. This is America. This is the land of the free. Live freely. And it's what we should be. Why is it okay for homeless to have more rights than homeowners? Jackie, that's a good question. And I want to talk about the homeless problem just a little bit. And I was, the recall. The recall has what they call a town hall every Thursday. Sorry, every Wednesday. Yesterday was Wednesday. Every Wednesday at 6:45. I had the pleasure and the honor of being part of their panel yesterday. We talked about the homeless a little bit. We talked about the 70% of the homeless people who have mental health issues and how we need to open up mental health institutions for these people. I also said that I had to go back to 1985 and remove the Ronald Reagan law that stated that mental health people, that we need to open up mental health facilities because Ronald Reagan shut them down. And I read a comment and I wasn't able to answer it. So I'm kind of going to do this right now, Jackie, with your kind of question here. Mental health people don't know if they need help. That's why they have mental health. So Ronald Reagan said that you couldn't just institute somebody just because. SB 640, I believe it is, was sitting in Gavin Newsom's desk for the last 3 years now. And it's where a family member could come and have you evaluated to put you in a facility for mental health if you're homeless. Also, if any of you guys have ever been to court, and the court actually has the right to put somebody in mental health, because they do all the time, because you're not mentally capable of defending yourself or helping with your defense. The idea is to people who are mentally ill have mental health physicians go out to the homeless sites, evaluate them, and say, yes, we recommend them to go in. We're going to put them in for 90 days, whether it's for or against their will, because they really don't have a will because they're not here, right? Within 90 days, once they're taking medication and getting themselves back in order, they have the right at that point to make that decision once they're thinking right. But you can't ask somebody who's not thinking right to make a decision, right? Because you can't. Your mind's not in the right place. So the other 40%, we talk about them helping us, giving them a trade, putting trade schools, putting the rehab centers, alcohol and drug centers, and the old military bases where they're going to help us build housing. That is very important because we have to put these people in a place where they can grow and we can help them become better members of society. Now, the government's already paying for all these programs. The money's just not getting 100% allocated to these programs, so it's not going to cost the taxpayers any more than what it's costing right now. But we're also going to have a counselor or a project manager on site. They're going to get a room or they're going to rotate shifts where they can stay there and they can manage the facilities so that we make sure that they don't turn into drug labs. So we make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, because nothing's free in this world. They're going to be paying back by going to rehab, getting themselves clean, going through the trade schools, helping us build the housing, helping us keep them up. We also need to get people off the streets. And what I mean off the streets is off our county roads, our parks, our buildings, our in front of our workplaces, right? We need to take care of them. So they're going to have an area if they don't want the program. If they just say, hey, I refuse 100% to go into that program, that's great. But you can no longer sleep on the street. You can no longer be sleeping at a park bench. You can no longer be urinating all over town and thinking that's okay, that nothing's going to happen to you because you're breaking the law. The first time around, the first offender, we're actually the police or the sheriff's department, whoever sees them there, is going to actually pick them up and take them to the designated area, which will be around this facility. They're going to have an area where they can camp and stay there for 30 days before they have to move over to the next county. The reason that is because the statistics say that after you moved around 12 times in a year, you usually want to settle down. And we want these people to be able to settle down and just be able to come back into society. So each town, each city will have a designated area where these people will have a shower, a bathroom, and be safe, because their safety is also important, not only for them, but for the California taxpayers, because when they're scared or they're not all here and they do something, they're going to hurt somebody and they're going to hurt a California taxpayer, right? We don't want that to happen. So that's our plan for the homeless. Now, Jackie's question is, why do they have more rights than us? Jackie, I'm going to answer this, and it's not going to be a very pretty answer, but here's the reality is, everybody has more rights than the California taxpayer in the state of California. It's a shame. It's a shame that criminals are getting out every day. Susanville's getting shut down, the prison. I don't know how many of you guys know that's getting shut down at the end of the month. Why are we letting prisoners out of jail? Why are we letting people who commit small crimes, why are we citing and releasing them and laying them out? Why isn't there accountability? Because if you steal under $900, $950 at a store, the police will go out there, they'll sign release you and let you go. That means you could go right back to that store, steal another $900 worth, and come back out, get cited, and go do it again until you can go out and sell the stuff. What kind of society have we came to? What have we allowed these career politicians to create? Because if you want to vote for somebody who's a career politician, this is why the mess we're in, because of them, right? Who makes the rules? Who allowed this to happen? Look at people who were mayors. How long have they been mayors? What did they do in their term of being mayors? Did they do anything greatly for that city that they were in? Or did they not have a backbone and keep their city shut down and regulated it more during Corona, instead of being like the mayor at Atwater, Corona, Kalinga, who said, you know what? No, my city, my town will be open for business because our people need to have revenue and they need to make a living. Look at that, because that's the kind of person you want in office. You want a person with a backbone. You want a person with a plan and an idea. Got criticized a little bit about my plans on the recall yesterday. But guess what? I have a plan. I have an idea. And I have a way that we're going to achieve something. Because what we're doing right now isn't working. If you think buying hotels for homeless people is working, it's not. Because those are drug labs. And you still got homeless people everywhere. So that did not fix the problem, folks. It's time that we come up with new ideas and new solutions, and we make them real solutions. Why do criminals that break into your home have more fights than the home, have more rights than the homeowners? What can we be done about that? Well, that's only in the state of California. And this is real. California Underground, he might want to hop into this, but he's actually not a criminal lawyer. I'm going to see if I can get a couple of my criminal lawyers to come on with me, and they can actually explain this to you. And this is kind of weird. So kind of follow along. This isn't right. By no means is this right. But this is the law in California. A criminal can break into your house, walk into your front door, go to your refrigerator, make themselves a sandwich, sit at your kitchen table, and all you can get them for is trespassing. Do not shoot him. Do not hurt him, because at no time he has tried to inflict damage to you. Your life was never in danger. They had no intent. You'd go to jail. Crazy, right? Kind of crazy. But when you look at that scenario, okay, follow me here. You go to that scenario, look at our borders, right? Illegal aliens get across our border, they get housing, they get money, they get medical. Me and you who work for a living, we try to go get medical. It costs us an arm and a leg. Not only that, if you didn't get medical that year, you get fined $1,000 when you do your taxes because you couldn't afford medical. So let me get this straight. I can't afford medical. You're taxing me to pay illegal aliens who haven't paid a penny into here. And I'm getting taxed. Doesn't make sense. California Underground says a lot of time homeless are picked up for crimes and they are let go, citations to return to court, but they never do. We need a resolution for the homeless court. One of our fixes with that is actually giving them a job, giving them the opportunity to build their housing, and consequences for everybody, right? So that wouldn't happen again. Homeless people do not return to court. Trust me, I know. When somebody, everybody knows I own a bail bonds company, so when I go get somebody out of jail and I see they're at transit, it's a little scary because I got to keep more track of them because they'll get up and leave tomorrow. And now you're chasing homeless camp to homeless camp to homeless camp to homeless camp, hoping that you can find them. So that's a problem that we got to solve. And that's why I'm saying that we're going to help them. They're going to help us build their housing. They're going to help us build their camp area where we know where they're at. And they have repercussions for not showing up to court. They'll have repercussions for committing crimes. Homeless solutions without accountability is asking for trouble, too much like welfare. Okay, so Margaret, that's a great point. This isn't a welfare. This isn't a free system. Accountability. I said we're going to have a project manager or a counselor on site 24 hours a day, so they actually have accountability. They're going to be accountable to go to work every morning for a year till they get themselves clean and learn a trade, an agro trade, so they can actually go out in our world and society and be able to get a job and have a address so they can actually get a job. We're also going to be able to show them, because we're going to bring on-the-job training back. We're going to bring apprenticeship programs back. We're going to give bigger corporations an incentive, a tax break, so that they will do something for apprenticeship programs. So they will do something for on-the-job training, because our youth has no training. We're going to bring trade schools back into California so everybody has an opportunity to learn a trade and be able to do something with themselves. We're going to actually go back to our education system. We're going to fix that. I keep saying this. I hope the unions aren't back to work when I get elected. I hope that they are still fighting 1-2 days a week. I hope that they don't want to go back to work, because there'll be a quick fix for our teachers union. It'll be done and over with. I'm going to accept the resignation in a heartbeat. We're going to rehire new teachers. We're actually going to get with the school board, because a lot of people don't know this. Two things that people don't know. Our school boards have a lot of control of what's getting taught. So is our legislation in Sacramento, that nobody ever goes to them and complains and says, hey, that's not right. So we're going to actually expose where we need to fix education and how we're going to fix it the right way. We're going to get the right teachers that want to go to work. And teachers, I have nothing but respect for a lot of you. I keep hearing how much you guys want to go to work, how much you guys want to be able to get back into your classrooms, but your hands are kind of tied a little bit. So I respect school teachers. You guys are bringing up our future, which our future are our kids. I'm going to ask churches to get more involved with after-school programs, schools to get a little bit more involved with after-school programs, so our kids aren't going on the street when mom and dad are working, but they have a place to go to either play sports or get better education. We're going to talk about welfare here a little bit, because what I just talked about, trade schools and opportunities. If you're on welfare, Welfare is to give you a hand up, not a paycheck. Nobody, white, black, I don't care, Caucasian, Asian, I don't care who you are. This is the only country that the government gives you money to sit at home and do nothing. Go to any other country and that doesn't happen. So what we are going to do is this. Very simple. Welfare is a 2 to 3 year, and you better be enrolled in one of our trade schools, or you better be going to work. Otherwise, you're not getting anything. You got to put something into this. We have got to build a society where we're all wanting to work to move forward, to create, not take away. And that's what we have right now. We have a society that's taking away a lot, and the people that are working to create are getting shut down. The middle class, the small businesses, we're getting tossed out of the state. The people who are creating jobs are getting tossed out of the state, almost like the United States wants to go like any other country with no middle class. Because the reality is, small business owners, we are the middle class of California. We are the middle class of the United States, and we need to stay here. We need to preserve that, and we need everybody to get involved. So people who are on welfare right now, enjoy your welfare. I'm not discontinuing it right away, but I will make you, okay, make, it's the wrong word. Let's put it this way. For you to qualify for welfare, you need a trade school. You need to either be going to trade school, or you need to be going looking for a job every day. No more staying at home. I know, I know you don't have daycare. I do, because in our trade schools, guess what we're going to have? We're going to have a school where it's going to teach people to be able to be certified daycare keepers. And guess what? We need kids so that they can do their job right. So folks, there will be daycare available. You don't have transportation, maybe we'll get a bus system. We'll work something with each county to make sure that you get an opportunity with your welfare, that you get a bus pass so you can go to and from to your trade school. I want everybody to be successful. And I want to give everybody the opportunity to be successful. The only way we're going to do that is providing you with the right tools to be successful, and not with our legs on your head and helping you drown and staying in the same system that you've been in. Because if we don't cut your taxes, if we don't provide an ability for you to make a better living, if we don't provide an opportunity for you to get educated and get a trade that you can do, that's exactly what we're doing. If we want to keep you in the system, all we're doing is putting our foot on your head and do what? Not letting you get up. That's not the way it should be. This is the land of the free. This is a state where you can do anything you want. Take it from somebody that knows. That's the beautiful thing about me. I know that if you go to work, you put your mind to it, and you want to succeed in life, there's only one person holding you back, and that's yourself. We're going to create the biofuel. Biofuel's already running, but we're going to create more fabrics. We're going to create more opportunities, so that's going to create more jobs. Forest management, we're going to get right on it. We're going to help the lumber mills build and bring more lumber mills and more opportunity for people to get a job in lumber mills and the lumber industry. We're going to work with environmentalists to make sure that we keep our environment going in a safe manner, but that we also provide jobs for the right people. We're going to open up desalination plants, so that's going to create a couple of jobs, so we could turn salt water into drinking water, because we actually do need to have 3 years in a reservation of water so that California will never go dry, and even in a bad year, you'll never feel it because we'll still have water. We have 3 years worth. So what happens to the access of water that we're doing with that? Well, the access of water that we have Arizona, who's a desert state. We have Las Vegas, that's a desert state, right? So we have a place that we're creating the water here. We're creating jobs for people here in California, and now we're selling the access water, not our water, but the extra water that we have. We can sell to these states, and they will help us pay for these plants. They will help us pay for the workers that we have there, right? So we're going to create more opportunities for people to have better jobs. We're going to deregulate California, so bigger identities, bigger companies, bigger industry wants to come back to California, and that's where the trade schools or on the job training goes, right? Because everybody needs to be able to work, and everybody should have the right and the ability to be able to make as much money as they can and not get overtaxed. So my proposal is to cut taxes not only for big corporations, but for everybody in California. I would like to see our state tax go from 13% to 9%. And there's only a couple of ways of doing it. One is you got to create more revenue in California. So we have to bring bigger corporations, bigger people. So there's more people paying taxes so that the state as a whole doesn't feel it, but we feel it as individual taxpayers because we get more money. We work hard for our money and we should have more in our pocket than give to the government. I truly believe that. So my idea is to make sure that everybody can make an honest living, right? So I got to be able to provide this. So my administration will deregulate California, bring some industries back, make sure that we can provide trade schools and the ability for our California people to be able to go get better jobs. Welfare, I like us in my roughly in the first 3 years to really have almost nothing on welfare. And not saying that people won't be on welfare because there's special cases. Okay, I want everybody to understand that. Um, okay, any plans or hope for lifting the California firearm roster? I'll grab on that here in a little bit. I got about 8 minutes, so we're going to wrap it up here a little bit in 8 minutes, but I will get to the firearm roster and things that are going on with the firearms and where I stand with that. We will create an opportunity for everybody who is here in California to be able to make a living. We're going to secure our borders, guys. I'm going to actually put up the wall, even though people say that it's counterproductive. It's really not. We need to let people know that you just can't come to the United States illegally, that you just can't just come in whenever you want. You can't just flood it. We have to take care of everybody who's in California now, make sure everybody's working, making sure everybody's making a living, and any immigrant that wants to come into the state of California, you either have to come with a job ready to go, with the ability to get a job, or a sponsored family that's going to sponsor you to be here that will take care of you, will feed you, house you, make sure that you're safe till you get on your feet, because the state of California will no longer do that for illegal immigrants. We shouldn't have to. It is not the taxpayer's responsibility to take care of somebody. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't help people. What that means is that if you're coming into this country illegally, you're going to have to go through the borders, you're going to have to come in legally, and there will be an opportunity for you to see the jobs that are available. Or again, you have to have a family or somebody here who is willing to sponsor you and take care of you. There are people right now who are not getting their unemployment checks since mid-March. Um, God, I hear that every day when I talk to people about your unemployment. It's crazy. You worked all your life to get it. Then they make you feel like you're begging for something that you actually paid into. We need to fix the unemployment system. And the easiest way to fix the unemployment system, guys, is getting everybody back to being employed. As you get everybody back employed, you actually take down the claims that are coming in, so then you can actually do an internal audit and get it set up straight, because that's what we actually need. We need to do an internal audit of our EDD system and get it fixed. We also need to do an internal audit for DMV and what's going on in DMV and the fees that we're paying compared to other states. I don't see why, if you own a diesel truck, if it's a newer diesel truck, you're paying $1,000 a year for registration. It's crazy. We have to bring all that in line. We have to make California a livable state. Some of these fines and taxes are used for these programs that we're not going to do away with, but we're going to cut back on. Social Security for our elderly. We need to look at a California style Social Security for the elderly who live here, who are living from paycheck to paycheck because the cost of living has gone so high. We need to do something about housing and affordable housing. I want every Californian to have an opportunity to buy a house. And we actually have a plan on how we can do that and accomplish that. We can talk about that next week. I got about 5 minutes. So next week, tune in. Invite your friends. I don't care what party they're in, okay? This isn't about parties. This is about talking about California problems and getting California solutions, okay? So invite everybody. Tag them. If you guys are watching me, share the video and let everybody know. Just come and talk. Sit at the dinner table. Let's talk. Wake Up California with Diego Martinez every Thursday at 9 a.m. At 8:30, I'm going to start doing a Spanish one. I'm going to do 8:30 to 9 in Spanish. Unless it grows, then we'll move that a little bit. After this one, I'm actually going to do one in Spanish because We're starting it this week. So this week's going to be from 10 to 10:30. So if you guys have friends that don't speak good English, that want to listen to this in Spanish, they're more than willing to come on and listen to what we're doing. I'm going to get to the firearm roster. I don't want to leave that. So we should not have a firearm roster in California. That we need to do away with. We're getting over-regulated for the Second Amendment in California. I read an article, and actually California Underground kind of brought it up yesterday, and I kind of laughed. So I'm not going to say any names. I'm just going to lay it out there. Right now, I believe there's only 2 candidates for governor that actually have a CCW and probably carry all the time. It's funny to me that you want to come on and you want to be a gubernatorial candidate or any kind of politic you want to be. Doesn't matter. And if you say I'm running as a Republican, you automatically assume I got to tell people this. I'm pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, pro-lowering taxes, pro, all the stuff that we hear all the time, right? Yeah, you want to defend California, but you can't even defend yourself. You don't even know what a gun looks like. You don't own one. You don't have one around your house. You don't understand why guns are so important to most of us. You just know it's a punchline. So when this candidate said that he's getting harassed because of some stuff that he's doing, self-created, you self-create your own bed. You don't want to lie in it when it's time to lie in bed. And then you want to tell everybody that you had, for your safety, you had to go and get armed security. I'm armed all the time, so there's my security. I don't need one. Because I believe in the Second Amendment for the right reasons. Because I'm a gun owner, I'm an enthusiast, and I believe that we should be able to protect our houses, our businesses, and our livelihood and our family. That's why I believe in the Second Amendment. Now, here's the tricky part about that roster. Half those guns on that roster aren't going to do any more or any less damage than the guns that are off the roster that we can get right now. So stop with the damn roster. Let California people have the right guns that they deserve on their hands, just like every other state. Let's stand up for the Second Amendment, but for the right reasons, because we believe in freedom, God, country, and the right to protect ourselves and our families. That's why I believe in the Second Amendment. And that's why I'm an advocate. I'm not only an advocate, I'm a gun owner. My guns have never killed anybody. Because it's not the gun, it's the person behind it. So I get a lot of heat over this, guys. And it's somewhere where I have to draw the line in the sand, right? And a lot of patriots don't agree with me and say, how can you be a patriot? How can you be constitutionalist if we can't go and buy a gun that day and take it home? In my line of work, I have experienced a lot of stuff. And that's why I come up to this conclusion. I will not remove the 10-day waiting period. The reason I will not remove the 10-day waiting period is because I have taken somebody out of jail. 30 minutes later, they're back in jail because they went and beat up their wife again. When you have a domestic violence, especially a felony, they put a restraining order on you and you're supposed to surrender your guns to either a gun dealer or the sheriff's department. I cannot consciously live with myself if I knew that my decision got somebody killed because I removed the 10-day hold because that person just went and had a domestic violence the night before and decided to go to their local gunsmith and go pick up a gun and go home and kill that woman or that man or whoever it was. The 10-day rule is there for a reason, and I think we ought to respect it. We should respect it because it's for our safety. It's for the safety of the people you love. Too many panic buyers saw the firsthand last year with people walking into a gun store with no knowledge of a gun. And I agree with you, Phil. My fix for that, and I think this should be, and we should be able to work with because we're going to get no roster. We're going to get all this stuff going on. I believe that if you're a first-time gun owner, and I have nothing against first-time gun owners. I think that everybody, again, you should be educated on what a gun is, how to take it apart, how to shoot it, and make sure that you're safe with it and understand the damage that a gun in the wrong hands could do. And what I mean by the wrong hands, if you're a first-time gun owner, and I remember being that guy, you don't realize what that gun can really do. And we do stupid stuff as a first-time gun owner, right? Most of us do. We forget to put it in the safe every night when we get home, or we don't think we need to, for whatever reason that is, right? I believe that when you buy a gun, first of all, you got to do that little test. Anybody who's ever bought a gun, you go there, you do a 5-minute test. Hey, I can own a gun. When you go get that gun, they show you how to put the safety on. They show you how to put the magazine in. They show you how to load it, unload it, right? I'm going to move that to a step closer. If you're a first gun owner and you have that little card, we're going to ask every gun dealer to take you to the gun range for delivery of your gun. Gun dealers, some of them have gun ranges right there. They should give you a box of ammunition with each purchase of a gun, especially right now because they're gold. And they should take you through at least a box of ammo where you actually understand how to shoot the gun, what kind of damage it can do, and why it's so important to keep it locked up and keep it, because now you're responsible for that. You're responsible for that gun and the damage that gun can do. Doesn't matter whether it's in your hands or somebody else's hands. And that's how important and a gun is. That being said, our gun rights are more important to be able to defend our families, our houses, our businesses, and our livelihood. That's why I'm pro Second Amendment. But I also believe that there's some fine lines that we have got to stay intact. We have got to make sure that the right people have the guns in their hands, because just anybody with a gun, and I hear this all the time, well, criminals go out and get it. Yeah, they do. That's why I'm pro Second Amendment. But I'm also pro law and doing it the right way. I think that if we do it the right way, we'll be able to get some of these non-registered guns off the street. I think we could, if our law enforcement worked a little harder and didn't have to worry about everything that they do, everything that they say, getting fired, and actually being able to go out there and do their jobs, that they could pull some of these guns off the streets a little bit better. There's some stuff that we have to fix in law enforcement, 100%. But if we work with our police units, with our police officers, with their leadership into doing a better system and helping them not feel afraid to do their job. There was just a trial that just happened. I don't know what kind of message that sent out with a guilty verdict of murder. We were kind of discussing it yesterday a little bit. I was kind of listening to a discussion in California Underground. And some people felt justice. Some people felt unfair. How do you guys feel? And we'll talk about that next week a little bit. That's just a question I'm going to throw out there. How do you guys feel about the verdict? I'm going to let a little bit of time settle between it, because Black Lives Matter is still destroying stuff. They didn't stop. So it wasn't really about justice, if they call that justice. If you're a police officer, if you're a correctional officer, if you have any of that line of work and you want to make a comment, we don't have to disclose what you do for a living. How do our police officers feel after that? How many of them are going to be a little bit gun shy to go out and actually do their job today because they're worried about losing their job or ending up in prison? Now, if you want to take a police officer, personal feeling here, and I'm not saying that what happened was right or wrong. So it's just an analogy here. If you want to take a police officer and you want to convict them of murder because of that incident, shouldn't you convict the doctor, a mother, the nurse who was in the room and they did a late term abortion? If you didn't explain the two differences, because a life's a life. That baby's born, yeah, you're going to kill it. You call that an abortion, and that's okay. No, it's not. That's still murder. And that's premeditated murder because you had time to think about it. That's first degree murder. and that's the way you should be tried, right? So you want to try a police officer for that, and you want to call it murder. I'm not going to get into the grounds of that, but what we want to talk about is it has to be right all the way around. I got one last question before I get off of this today. I was actually thinking how unsafe these communities will be because of this. No officer is going to want to take any action to protect anyone for the fear of losing everything. I agree with you, and that's what kind of like what I just said, right? Think about this. We are taught that we're supposed to stand up when we see an unjust going on. How many of you would actually get involved if you actually saw a woman getting raped or getting something stolen from her, or a guy getting beat up by 3 people? How many of you guys will get involved? Would you get involved, or would you be worried about what's going to happen to you? Not by those people, but by the law when it gets done. It's a sad society when we have to worry about that. It's a sad society when we have to worry that our police probably will not want to do their jobs because of the repercussions that they're going to have for doing their jobs. Again, no sense here that I say what happened was justified, and I don't want anybody to think anything like that. My personal opinions towards that I'll keep to myself, but I do want to bring it in discussion for everybody here so we can make a better solution for California and for the people of California, because law enforcement isn't going anywhere. We're going to strengthen our law enforcement. We're going to help them get the right training. And you guys, police officers train all the time. A lot of people don't know that. They're overtrained sometimes, but we got to train them in the right department. So we need to kind of have conversations about this in a civil manner because it's important. I would do whatever I could to help if someone needed it. And I am in the same boat, Maggie, Margaret, sorry. I am in the same boat. I would, and I wouldn't worry too much about the consequences. Like I said before, if all those people that were sitting there watching this happen, this police happen, why didn't one of them push the police officer off that position? Because they're afraid to go to jail? I can justify that to a judge, and somebody's probably still be alive from that. But this gentleman probably would have died from the overdose like the autopsy said that he did. And then this wouldn't even be an issue, right? I would definitely help someone who needed it. Again, I agree. I don't care what the consequences are if somebody needs help, right? But we're talking about our law enforcement now trying to do their job. Are they gun shy about doing it because the consequence of losing everything that they own, losing their families, losing everything that their retirement? We have to take a look at that because every action has a reaction, and the actions that happen in that court, how are they going to go to everyday reactions from the fellow law enforcement people that are there? This week, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to see if a couple of them will talk to me. I know a lot of police officers. I'm going to see if some of them will talk to me off camera, and I can get a statement in the field for how they're feeling, because I think it's important to know how they're feeling about all this. Anyways, guys, 10 minutes over. Thank you guys for joining me. Waking Up California, Thursday mornings, 9 a.m., Instagram and Facebook. We're going to try to get Twitter on here next week, so we're going to have 3 formats. Tell all your friends. Again, I don't know why when somebody tried to join in on Facebook, it didn't allow me to today, but try Instagram. Instagram's really a little bit easier to hop on and be able to have your conversation on here. I'll see you guys next week, and until then, guys, do your homework, see what's going on, have some more questions for us because we're more than willing to answer all your questions. We'll see you guys next week. Anybody who I see this week on the road, always a pleasure to see you guys out there and catch up with you guys. Again, doesn't matter where you guys see me. If you guys have a question, even on a meeting, just come up to me. I'm very approachable. I don't care. I'm running for a job. You guys are my employers, and I want you guys to actually feel that you guys can come up and talk to me whenever you guys want, because guess what? That's the job I'm running for. Because if your boss wants to talk to you, guess what? You stop what you're doing, you go get talked, right? So feel free to come up to me, ask any questions you have. Party lines don't matter, guys. See you guys next week. Stay safe. DiegoMartinezForGovernor.com. If you guys find it in yourselves, go on my website, go to the donate button, donate, because everything's highly appreciated. For all of you guys who have donated, thank you very much. We actually hit the goal last week to be able to get the brochures. They're coming out. They're actually in production right now. They should be out hopefully in the next couple of days, so you guys can all get a little literature. Keep donating, keep helping, and keep showing me your support. We'll see you guys next week.